welcome to Brit Inspires. I am Brit Inspires. This is my channel. It's all about inspiring you and bringing hope and peace and just sharing what I'm learning, sharing my journey. At times on this channel, I will talk about business, I will talk about inspiration, and I will talk about, different things that I'm learning from amazing books that I'm reading. I'm always big on reading books because that's how you level up your mind. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here and that you're watching. Please subscribe and like, and definitely comment below if you are intrigued or if something piques your interest and you want to talk about it. Share, because this is a conversation. This is something that I'm diving into, learning, I'm getting more insight on, and it's just been an exciting journey. The book that I'm going to talk about today is a book that I have talked about before. Periodically, I read this book consistently because it's not one of those books that you could just read one time and be like, okay, I got it, great. This is one of those books that I continuously read, and I keep reading because it's got a lot of insight and a lot of wisdom. It's called The Mystic Path of Cosmic Powers. Okay, so I've talked about this book in a previous video, and I'll probably link the video so you can watch that one as well. But there's different lessons that I've been learning out of this book, and that has been helping me on a spiritual level and a physical level, and just understanding too the two separate worlds that I'm living in. I'm not just a physical being, I'm a spiritual being. So there's a spiritual aspect to me and there's a physical aspect to me, and it's helping me gain a more deeper understanding on those two aspects. Now, the chapter that I'm going to be speaking on is about love. And this is not a love channel. I don't do romance and dating and counseling or anything like that. Although, I've helped people in that area, but that's just not my expertise. I'm definitely a learner. I'm growing and understanding what this whole concept of love is. But I wanted to do a video on love and the true self. Obviously, in this day and age, and with everything happening in the world, love and kindness have been on my heart heavily. And authenticity and being real and just being more in your true self. And I think that when you wake up from being in a dream state, when you wake up from living life in sort of unwoke state, you start to realize these things. And so I wanted to talk about just going through this process of enlightenment and starting to understand how these things all correlate, how relationships work, how friendships work, how business relationships work, and how to become better in those areas of your life. And so this video is going to be a deep dive into understanding not only the relationships around you, but also your true self. And I'm going to talk about different let's just go ahead and get started on talking about your true self. Now, the journey that I'm in right now is really understanding who my true self is. I've played so many roles in my life. We all have different roles. So you may be a sister, you may be a mother, you may be a wife, you may be a best friend, you may be a business partner, you may be a colleague. There's so many different roles that we play, right? So we play our home role, we go to work, there's different personalities that come out of us. And like one thing I remember a colleague told me, he said, people are not one-dimensional. They're multi-dimensional. There's different dimensions to people. And I'm like, that's so true. We are multi-dimensional. There's different dimensions to us. And when you understand that about people and about yourself, you stop looking at everything as being white or black. You start looking at things like, oh, there is a gray. There is other colors in the scheme of things. And people are in different spaces, right? And they're intertwining, going through these different spaces. And okay, I'm going to try to make all this make sense, right? So we're in our wanting to be in our true self, right? What is being in your true self and what is being in your false self? Let's talk about false self first. Being in your false self is living on an identity that's not true to yourself. Like you're not at peace. You're playing a role and you're like living out this role. I'll use the example of like when I was working a certain position. When I lost the title and the position that I was in, I felt like I lost myself. I lost my identity. Who am I if I am not this corporate recruiter? Who am I if I am not this marketer or this liaison? Who am I if I'm not this, that, and the next? Who am I? And I realized that I was looking for my identity in my careers. Who am I without this relationship? Who am I without my children? Who am I without my money? Who am I without my things? That's living in this false sense of reality, this false sense of who you really are. You are not your things. You are not your position. You are not your relationship. You are not your children. You are in yourself a being, a person aside from all those things. And so, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take a sip of my Inspiration Cups coffee. I also have a coffee company online, so I've been brewing coffee for myself because I broke my little drip machine. So yes, I've been making it in my little Chemex, which is my favorite brewing method now. It works pretty awesome. So I'm just side noting really quick because I need a sip of coffee. But being in your true self, being in your true identity, right? So when you're getting to this place of being in your true identity, you realize that you don't necessarily need outside elements to make you happy. You don't need outside elements to make you feel loved. You don't need outside elements to make you feel fulfilled. And when we're in a state of being unawoke to these things, like not aware, the lack of the need of having people to behave a certain way or having a certain situation a certain way. When we are in that space, and it's truly a space where you're able to just be yourself, right? Just be comfortable in your own skin and just be your true self. So that is really what it comes down to, is like getting to that space. Just going through this journey, and I'm learning, and I'm getting better, and I'm making mistakes. I'm learning from my mistakes, and I'm really trying to become a more authentic, more genuine person. And I want to be real with myself. And I feel like for a long time, I was not real with myself, and I was not real with people around me. I was trying to be as I thought people wanted me to be. So they call it a chameleon. Like, I was a chameleon. Like, what do you want me to be? I'll be it. How do you want me to be? I'll be that way. You don't like that? Okay, let me change it. I will be better. I will do what you think I should be doing. I will become what you think I should become. And I lost myself in that for a long time. I really did. And I got to this place where I decided, and it's probably more recent than ever, I decided I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to be authentic even though I'm not perfect, right? So my false identity was perfection. I have to be perfect. I had to be perfect. People had to see me in the right light. If they did not see me in the right light, it was devastating for me because that was my ego. That was my identity, was being good all the time. So now that it's like there's contrast, and the truth is that I'm flawed. I'm a flawed human being. I make mistakes. But it comes down to this point where, okay, you make mistakes, you're flawed, you have some challenges, you have things that you're working through, but how do you truly be authentic in all of that? It's okay to make mistakes and be messed up sometimes, you know? That's all of us. We're all going to go through those spaces. I've been there. We'll all go there at some point. But who do you really want to be? How do you really want to be? And level up to that and let go of the past, because we hold on to the past like all the time. Just let it go. Forgive yourself, forgive others, and move on. Move on. There was this part in the book, and I loved it. So there's these like disciples that are walking through this lake or whatever, or they're walking through this path, and they come across a woman that was sitting at the stream, and she needed help crossing the stream because I don't know if her leg was injured. I don't know what the case was. But the disciples were like, oh, we're not allowed to touch women because we've like made this vow and stuff. And so like one of the disciples was like, you know what, I get the vow and everything, but I'm gonna help this lady out anyways. He picks the lady up and carries her across the stream and then puts her down and keeps walking and keeps moving. And one of the disciples kept saying to him like, oh, you did this and you touched that woman. And he kept bringing it up. And he says, okay, I left that woman at the well, and you're still carrying her. And I was like, wow, that's literally what we do and what others do and what we do to other people. Like, someone could do something and we'll carry it and carry it and carry it and keep reminding them, oh, you did this, you did this, you did this, or I did this, I did this, I did this. You're still carrying something of the past. You're carrying something that you can't change at this point. You can only move forward. So you have to forgive people and move forward, and you have to forgive yourself and move forward. And those are the things that, you know, you learn as you walk in your true self. So we're talking about love, we're talking about kindness, we're talking about being kind not only to other people, but to ourselves. To ourselves. How do you be kind to yourself? You speak kindly to yourself. You treat yourself fairly, and you do the same for other people. You do your best to do well and to do right by other people if you can, and correct the situations. And that's really what being able to live in a kind state of being, and be real with yourself. I'm going to go through, because this call I had, I'm in a whole mentorship, and it's just transforming my life. And so I want to talk about it and just like talk about what I learned on this call that I was on. But I'm just going to give you guys a few things that I wrote down, because I feel like it's going to be helpful to you and your journey. Think about sacrifice and discipline. None of us wants to do it. I don't want to wake up 5 a.m. every morning, but you may have to just do that. You might have to commit to waking up 5 a.m. in the morning every day. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Hold yourself accountable. Discipline, 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 discipline. And this is where I struggle. But be disciplined. Eliminate and cut out all distractions. Anything that is distracting you from what you're supposed to be doing or your passion, cut it out. You create your own environment. You can create your own environment and continuously and consistently work towards your goal. The destination is in the process. Just remember that. Be a student of this game, of learning success. Be a student of success. Learn it. Obsess over it. Start designing and creating your life the way you want it. Be the author of your own story. Start taking action, and remember why you're doing it. Protect your energy and focus and urgency and stamina. So those are a few things that I learned from my call yesterday.